Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. And today, I'm be doing my yearly NFL playoff predictions video. Steelers did not make it because the Dolphins had to beat the Jets, but yeah, let's get into the video, and there's nothing else to say. So, okay, so we are here at the playoff predictor, and yeah, I'm just gonna go through and explain the matchup, maybe show a few clips, and yeah, explain why I think each team would win. So we'll start with the NFC, and we will start with the first wild card game, which is the Jags versus the Chargers. And the Jags are the home team because they won the division. The Chargers have a good offense. Their defense I don't know much about, but their defense, if Khalil Mack can disrupt the offensive line of the Jags, I can see the Jags having a very rough day. But then going to the Jags, they've got a really weird offense. Trevor Lawrence has made some extremely improved steps from last year. I mean, helps he has an actual stable head coach. And their defense is alright. I wouldn't say it's good. I'd say it's average. Their defense is definitely average. And but they do have home field advantage. So in this matchup, I think Trevor Lawrence comes out over Justin Herbert, and I think the Jags take it at home. They win their first playoff game since 2017. The Jags move on. The next game we got for the second straight week, we got the Bengals versus the Ravens for the third time this year, and two times in a row. Obviously, they played last week. The Bengals beat the Ravens, but the Ravens did not start Tyler Huntley or even, Lamar Jackson started. This game is going to determine down to if Lamar Jackson is going to be healthy and play. If Lamar Jackson's playing, it is going to be closer, and Ravens have a shot to win. But if it's not Lamar Jackson, I don't see a shot the Ravens win. I think the Bengals easily beat the Ravens if no Lamar Jackson's playing. If the Ravens do have Lamar Jackson, that'll be a lot closer because their defense is still amazing. They still have Roquan Smith, who's insane. Marlon Humphrey, I believe, is still out. The secondary is not that strong for the Ravens. The Bengals' defense is still alright. Their offensive line has been a little bit better. And Joe Burrow is insane. He's good. Joe Mixon, he can have his moments here and then. The Ravens running backs, J.K. Dobbins, he can do good. That's the only offense I can see for the Ravens. They don't seem to utilize Mark Andrews a lot. They don't seem to utilize any receivers that a lot. So J.K. Dobbins is really their only offense, and I don't see just J.K. Dobbins being able to beat the Bengals. So I see the Bengals moving on. I see the Bengals beating a Ravens team without Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson plays, it'll still be closer, but I'd still pick the Bengals to win even if Lamar Jackson is playing. Next game we got is the Dolphins versus going at Buffalo. The Bengals are home, if you were wondering, even though you could see the seats, but I still think I should have said it. But yeah, we got Dolphins heading into Buffalo. If Tua is playing, it is going to be a close, tough, hard-fought game for the both of them. If Tua's out, no chance the Dolphins win. And even with Tua playing, I still think the Bills can easily beat the Dolphins. But with Tua playing, it could be closer. I don't think the Bills will lose to a Dolphins team without Tua. But to talk more about the Dolphins, I could see Hill and Waddle still going off, even with Skylar Thompson or Teddy Bridgewater. I think Skylar Thompson's going to be because Bridgewater did break his finger and might not play. But yeah, I could see Skylar Thompson definitely just throwing to them two only and just them two still having a good game. Their defense is kind of regressed. Xavier Howard is, I don't know what's going on with him. He seems to be hit or miss so far this year. Bradley Chubb, I haven't heard his name basically at all for Dolphins. Has he even done anything? And then to talk about the Bills, you obviously got to talk about Josh Allen. You got Devin Singletary, Nyheim Hines, who obviously returned the 2 kicks last week. You got to talk about Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox. They got a really good offense, obviously. Gabe Davis, is he going to be a person who goes off in the playoffs and really does a okay job in the regular season, but just has is he about to show up for the playoffs? And last year, obviously, had that 4-touchdown game against the Chiefs. But I still have the Bills winning this game. To talk about the Bills defense real quick, They got Tre'Davious White, who's still really good. Matt Milano. They got the safeties. Jordan Poyer. Micah Hyde, obviously, is still out for the year. Jordan Poyer's really good. Now onto the NFC, we got the Dallas Cowboys going to Tampa Bay. Since Tampa Bay won the NFC South with an 8-9 record. This is a tough game to predict. The Bucks, Tom Brady, he's gonna mess around and win the Super Bowl this year, ain't he? But the Cowboys are obviously a better team. But home field advantage with the Bucks could mean something. And the Bucks did already beat the Cowboys earlier this year. Yeah, granted, Dak did get hurt that game, but so let's first talk about the Bucks. They got Tom Brady, obviously, who's not having his best year ever, but still an okay year for him. They got Leonard Fournette, who seems to be another Gabe Davis, who just plays better in the playoffs. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, if they can go off, they have a chance to win this game. I guess they're rolling with Cade Otton at tight end. Let's not forget about Rachaad White, the other running back, besides Leonard Fournette. Their defense is Levante David, Devin White. Secondary, kind of weak. Don't really have much there. The rushers, they've had some injuries. Shaq Barrett's been injured. Their offensive line has been injured and not good. Their line's going to have to step up if they want to have any chance of winning this game, because they got to go against Micah Parsons, who's probably going to be up there. He's going to be up there Defensive Player of the Year voting. You still got Trayvon Diggs, who's really good. Improved this year on the coverage. Still gets burnt sometimes, but he's definitely improved on coverage-wise. Now about the offense. Dak not looked good the past few weeks. Dak has not looked impressive whatsoever. Zeke and Pollard, neither of them really have done much. The offense has really struggled with Dak struggling, which makes sense, but when the running backs aren't doing anything, when Dak isn't doing anything, apparently the running backs don't do anything either. CeeDee Lamb is a really good receiver there, besides maybe Dalton Schultz. Their offensive line is pretty good, still really good, but this is probably the toughest game to predict. I will go back through and I'll give score predictions for the Jags, Bengals, Dolphins game. But for this game, I am going since they're home, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeat the Cowboys. It's going to be a low score. I say they're going to win 16-13. It's going to be a low scoring defensive game. I see neither offense really doing much. I see the Bucs winning 16-13. Probably a game-winning kick. Not in overtime, though. Then let's head back to the Jags vs. Chargers. I'll give a score prediction. Jags beat the Chargers in a close, hard-fought game, 28-24. Bengals Ravens. This is a close one. If Lamar Jackson isn't playing, it's going to be a Bengals sort of blowout. If Lamar Jackson is playing, I'll say the score is. And if Lamar Jackson isn't playing, I'm going to say the Bengals win 28 to the Ravens 10. It isn't really a big blowout, but in this one, Buffalo Dolphins play. If Tua doesn't play, I see the Bills winning without Tua. I think the Bills win. Bills win 38-7 without Tua. Next, we got the Giants at the Vikings. The Vikings, they have Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, T.J. Hawkinson, K.J. Osborne. They have a really good offense. Really good offensive line. Seems to hold up pretty well. But their defense. Oh boy, their defense. One of the worst defenses in the league. It is not a good defense. I mean, they have Pat Pete's okay. Harrison Smith's still fine, but besides that, their defense is not good. Talk about their opponent, the Giants. Daniel Jones had a okay year. He's definitely improved from his past years. Saquon has had a resurgence. They have no receivers, basically. They've been doing this with no receiving core. I mean, Kenny Galladay just scored a touchdown in the last game. So is he going to make an impact in the playoffs? I can't see that happening. Richie James. Is he the number one receiver? Am I forgetting some big one? I'll probably throw on the screen the big receiver I'm missing, but yeah. And their defense is average. Not as bad as the Vikings defense, but it's an okay defense. But with all that said, I am going to pick the first upset of these playoffs. And I see the Giants defeating the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. I give the Giants, I'll say 23-21. The Giants come out victorious. Brian Daboll, I haven't talked about Brian Daboll. If he should be the coach of the year. Taking that Giants team and making the playoffs with them is yeah. And without no receivers, he deserves coach of the year. I think he's gonna coach a well game and he's gonna defeat the Vikings on the road. Next game, we got another divisional matchup, which is the it's the third one. It's the third divisional matchup of these playoffs in the first round. And the Niners did sweep the Seahawks. And let's talk about the Seahawks. They have Geno Smith, who's played unbelievably amazing this year. It's really what made the Seahawks make the playoffs. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, a good 1-2 puncher, receiver. They got tight end. They got Will Disley, Noah Fant. They seem to go with Disley more than Fant, but yeah. Running back, they got Kenneth Walker, really good rookie year. Then offensive line, I don't really know much. Offensive line, I don't really know much about those. So if I claim one's like decent or good when they're actually horrible, or vice versa, I don't really look at offensive line that much, so I'm not too sure. But I think their offensive line's okay, better than last year. I know the offensive line was not good last year. Their defense is underrated. Tariq Woolen, who had a great start to a rookie year, kind of dipped a little bit, but still really good. Obviously, no Jamal Adams. Jordan Brooks, that's a huge loss with his torn ACL. That's going to hurt this defense a little bit. I don't have a lot of big names on the Seahawks defense, just a lot of like solid role players that can get a defense going. Pete Carroll can coach basically anyone into the playoffs, apparently, because he did that with the Seahawks. The secondary, obviously, I took name Tariq Woolen. Quandre Diggs is really good in the secondary. It just sucks their opponents are the 49ers, because wow, this team is stacked. While they don't have Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy stepped in and just played unbelievably well. I mean, he hasn't had to do too much, because, that's what the Niners quarterbacks all have to do. They just don't really have to do much and just hand it off to the running back. Speaking of which, they traded for Christian McCaffrey midway through the year, and they got to deal with him. Seahawks have to deal with Christian McCaffrey, as well as Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk has definitely had a better year with Deebo Samuel, but I think Samuel was hurt for a little while and just having a down year. Then our tight ends, obviously George Kittle, who Brock Purdy loves to target a bunch, so George Kittle is really bounced back. Then our offensive line is probably one of the better offensive lines. I know that because they got Trent Williams, who's really good. That's pretty much all I can name, but yeah, I know the offensive lines. Then their defense. Fred Warner is really good. Also, if I name players that are injured, I didn't do a lot of research going into this video. If anyone's injured that I don't know of, I'll make sure I put up an edit saying that they're actually hurt. They got to deal with a person competing with Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, in the Defensive Player of the Year. It's gonna come down to them two, and it's gonna be tough for the Seahawks to stop Nick Bosa. But all that being said, I think the Niners continue to sweep the Seahawks, and they take this game. I think they win 28-17. Seahawks will put up a couple touchdowns, but I think the Niners overall will win this game, 28-17. Then we head on to the divisional round, where we have the Bengals going into Buffalo, the Jags heading into Kansas City, who had to bye, the Giants heading into Philadelphia, who had to bye, Bucs heading into San Fran. We'll start with the NFC on this side. Here we have the Giants heading into the 1-seed Eagles, who have a bye. I'll talk about the Eagles since I already talked about the Giants. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he has been injured the past few weeks, and last week he didn't really look the best, but he was all right. I mean, we know how good he can be. He's probably gonna lose out on the MVP just because he was injured and didn't really look that good. But Miles Sanders is still a really good running back. Obviously, A.J. Brown is really what turned this offense around and what made them really good. Obviously, Jalen Hurts improving helps a ton. Just realized my camera could have been in the way, so moving it up to the top right just in case maybe I was in the way of the teams at the bottom. But now you should be able to see the teams at the bottom. And Devonta Smith is a good number 2 for A.J. Brown. Then our defense. Hassan Reddick's really good. He turned another good season. Then they have the 1-2 punch of Darius Slay and James Bradbury at cornerback, which is deadly. That is really good cornership. With all this saying, they got the Giants coming in, who they swept. Yeah, they swept this year. I don't think this changes, and I think the Eagles beat the Giants. Giants' miracle run ends here after they upset the Vikings 27-17. Let's talk about the Buccaneers heading into San Fran. Tom Brady versus Brock Purdy for the second time this year. Brock Purdy absolutely destroyed the Bucs last time the 49ers played the Bucs. Yeah, it was more on the defense stopping Tom Brady, which I think, again, it can happen. So it already meant once the 49ers beat the Bucs badly. Yeah, I don't think the Bucs have any chance beating this team, considering they already lost them a lot. It will be closer than last time, but the Bucs finally get eliminated, and the 49ers will win. So we have a 1-2 matchup there. Niners will win 23-20. Be prepared for the Niners to pick off Brady a couple times. Same with the Eagles picking off Daniel Jones. They're gonna pick off Daniel Jones at least twice. Let's head over to the AFC, where we have the Bengals going into Buffalo. Ooh, this is the toughest. We got two good teams. Obviously, the first matchup got suspended and then eventually canceled because of Damar Hamlin's injury. So obviously, we don't know what that matchup is going to turn into. So now we got this in the playoffs, which I believe this would cause this to be played at a neutral site. I don't know if it's going to be at Buffalo then, unless that's for the Chiefs. Unless that's Buffalo versus Chiefs. No, because I think this would be the regular Buffalo, and then if it's Buffalo versus Chiefs or Bengals Chiefs, the Chiefs move on. I think that would be played at a neutral site. I'm going to play it as like Bengals heading to Buffalo. Burrow versus Allen, two of the best young and best quarterbacks in the league. I see this being a high-scoring, hard-fought battle, and it's going to end with the Bills winning. I can't see the Bills losing, but it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be an insane score. This might be a little too high, but I think it's going to be like a 45-42 matchup. Like it's going to be that high-scoring, 45-42. Next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars going into Kansas City to face the Chiefs. We haven't talked about the Chiefs yet, so let's talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs obviously got Patrick Mahomes, who probably has a chance to win the MVP, since Jalen Hurts always had his running backs. They're going with Jerick McKinnon and Pacheco. McKinnon's more of the receiving back. Pacheco's more of the actual runner. Cole Hardman, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and then basically they still got Travis Kelce, obviously. Defense is where it really scares me for the Chiefs. They don't have the best defense. I don't know if they played the Jags, so let me check to see if they faced. So the Chiefs did end up beating the Jags earlier this year, 27-17. That was at Kansas City as well, so Jags already played there. And with the Chiefs having an okay to underwhelming defense, not the best. And the Jags, I think Trevor Lawrence really shows off this postseason. It really goes off. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars upsetting the number 1 seeded Chiefs, move to the AFC Championship game versus the Bills. I just think the Jags can actually do it. Doug Peterson's going to coach his way into another championship game, but this is going to be for the AFC. So that brings us to the conference championships. The Jags going into Buffalo, and the Niners heading into Philadelphia. If this happens in the NFC, this is going to be a good game. I have the underdog Jags, which I guess are not really an underdog, but sort of is at the same time. They won a division. They're only 9-8. So the Chiefs-Jags, that game, I think it's going to be a little bit of a weird score prediction, but I think the Jags are going to win 26-24. We'll do the NFC. So we'll do the NFC. We'll get this big game. We got the 49ers heading into Philadelphia. Obviously, we got two powerhouses going against each other. Philly does have the home field advantage. It's going to be a close one. I think this is where Brock Purdy actually steps up as a quarterback and will actually make some really good throws, more than he's already made, and will actually carry the Niners to a victory more than their running backs will. The Niners will shut down Jalen Hurts with that defense. Nick Bosa will shut down Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders. The secondary will find a way to stop them. Eagles will still put up points, but I think the Niners will stop them and they will come out victorious. Niners won 24-21 to move on to the Super Bowl. Who they'll be facing? Well, we're about to find out. In the AFC Championship game, we got the Jaguars going against the Bills. Jaguars are on a miraculous run right now. Will they actually do it unlike 2017 where they got stopped by Tom Brady? This one is going to be a good one. I think this game will go into overtime. Josh Allen will throw up touchdowns like it's nothing. Trevor Lawrence will match that and then some. Travis Etienne will probably do a little bit, nothing impressive. Devin Singletary will probably punch in a touchdown, and I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are heading to the Super Bowl for the first time in their franchise's history to face the San Francisco 49ers. And that brings us to a Jacksonville Jaguars San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl. Prediction for the Bills-Jags game. I said it wanted to go in overtime, and the Jags will win 37-31 in overtime. Brock Purdy is the first. Will he be the first rookie quarterback to win a Super Bowl? Who knows? We got Trevor Lawrence in his second year, improving big time, leading the Jags to the Super Bowl. The Jags, compared to their defense, to the Niners' defense, worse. They got to find a way to stop Nick Bosa. If they are not able to stop Nick Bosa, they will lose this game. if they find a way to contain him a little bit and only limit him to like 1 or 2 sacks, then I think they have a chance of winning. If they aren't able to stop Nick Bosa and he goes off, disrupts everything, they're going to lose. If ETN doesn't do anything, they kind of need him, even though I said they won't do anything against Buffalo. My Super Bowl prediction: the winners of the 2022-2023 Super Bowl will be a close game. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will win this Super Bowl this year. My huge bold take is the Jacksonville Jaguars win the Super Bowl. I didn't think it would go this way. Honestly, they could lose first round of the Chiefs. The Jags can easily just lose first game to the Chargers and totally blow up this bracket. But I'm sticking with it. The Jacksonville Jaguars defeat the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl to win and score to beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl, and they will win. Let's throw it 34-27. They will win by a touchdown. No, 34-28. We'll give the Niners 28. The Jags will win. They will be Super Bowl champions the 2022-2023 season. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment below, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and tell me in the comments if you change anything different from my bracket. I think you would have a lot of differences than mine, but yeah, I went out big in saying the Jaguars will win the Super Bowl, and that's pretty much all I gotta say. And I'm ready for that to completely blow up in my face and that bracket to be wrong after the Jags lose to the Chargers in the first round. But you know what? I'm sticking with it, and thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment below, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video /stream. Peace.